Sent you a couple of memes in our signal thread.
Okay.
That it is time to push buttons.
I already pushed the go live button.
Oh. Well, all right then.
Yeah, now I just need to get the lights on.
You turn on the lights, what will I do?
That's a good question. Maybe I don't need you anymore. All right. And good morning. Happy Friday, everybody.
Yes.
So far, I see Ben, Danny, and Maul. That's a great good start to the morning.
It's my. I'll be right back. It's my fault. We're not professional. I'll fix it. It's.
Oh, you left your fan on.
Yes.
Shame.
Yes.
Shame.
Yes. Hit the admonish button.
Admonish.
Yep. Oh dear. And now there we go. So it's Friday.
It is Friday.
Man, you
Guten
know.
Morgen. Wie geht's?
Yeah, something like that. You know, bro, like is it the only fan? No, there's more than one down here, but I appreciate the humor. That was an absolute pun right there. Man, there's a lot about my life currently that I really like, but I do miss the version of my life from a few years ago where when Friday hit, I usually got off work early and then had no more work until Monday. There's part of that I miss. So yeah. Hey, before we jump into the DGUs, I sent you a couple of Firearm Friday related memes.
Eagleson, Halsudende.
I have no idea what that means, but I'm going to assume that it's related.
When the Shooper is male. Okay, so not that.
Well, I mean, both of them, but I sent two on purpose.
I saw that.
Yeah, I know. But yes. Yes.
That's spot on. Switzerland has a stunningly high rate of gun ownership. Here's why it doesn't have mass shootings. They don't have the FBI or CIA. That's hilarious. That's adorable.
Well, Switzerland also has,
and their crime problem, I'm sure, has nothing to do with near total ethnic homogeny.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. The fact that they've got a not just an ethnic homogeny, but a cultural homogeny. Like, let's be clear that
Yeah.
they all choose to be of an accord. So, you know.
And then this one's right solid. After 2 days, CIA when the shooter is male. White supremacist, 4chan, Nazi, Tim Pool, Joe Rogan, gum culture. Month and a half when the CIA when the shooter is male. Now let's not jump to conclusions. Right? And that's obviously in reference to the recent spate, not single occurrence. There were a few of these. The one that you're most familiar with was the most severe of them, but we had a recent spate in the United States of severe transgender terrorism conducted all over the country. The one where the cops showed up as fast as cops can show up, which, by the way, is not fast enough, and that's why we do this. That's one of the many reasons we do this show in the morning. Was the worst of them, but it certainly was not an isolated event. It wasn't the only one.
Well, yeah, but then, of course, we can't have that manifesto because it's so dangerous. Like, who needs a manifesto at this point to know that going and shooting up a school is an absolute terrible, evil crime that you can commit and will have a high body count because the school is an inherently soft target? Like, I don't need a manifesto for that.
You know, I hadn't actually expected to have this particular conversation this morning. But there's a very clear and obvious reason that they are remiss, that they're concerned about releasing the manifesto. It's this simple. You had the Christchurch shooting. You had there have been several mass shootings where immediately, like not even the next day, it was on the same day, the mainstream media narrative became oh well, this guy was a dangerous white supremacist, Trump supporting, far right extremist, and then, you know, shortly after those statements come out, we get our hands on the manifesto, and it's oh no, this person was actually a communist, literally self-avowed communist.
Right.
This person is a flag waving Democrat activist, and that's been the case with every single, without exception to recent memory, mass shooting, most especially the ones where the shooter was white and male and immediately followed with the left-wing media narrative about right-wing extremism. And the fact is, they've all been left-wing extremists.
Yeah, except for the most recent one.
And with the tranny shooter that got herself greased, obviously that's not going to be a far right conservative, and the machine knows. Wow, we cannot let this person, who clearly holds all of the correct opinions, who clearly believes in the message, we cannot let this person's thoughts, which will be reflective of the current administration and everyone who voted for it, be made public. That's why the manifesto's not out there. That shit's not complicated at all.
Well, I mean, it's not just that the manifesto's not out there, and Steve references the Vegas shooter, and man, that's its own separate weird rabbit hole. But no, everything with the shooter from Texas from earlier, from what is it, right at a week now?
Mm-hmm.
The Latino that is the white supremacist who posted his white supremacy on Russian.
Well, he's a white Hispanic.
Well, look, but he posted his white power tattoos on Russian Russian social media apps, and it's like, wow, you guys found that quick. And look, I understand. You don't have to be. You could be a white supremacist and not be white. I grasp
Dave
that.
Chappelle.
That's. Oh God, yeah, that was that. Yeah, he's hysterical. No, but
he had to divorce his wife when he found out she was married to a black man.
Right. Yes, I know what you're referencing. Alex referenced that recently on the TPS report. And it got Danny rolled her eyes so hard I was worried she was going to fall over backwards. Anyhow, but yes, a Russian account with no followers. Dude, a Russian social media account, website, whatever, that I didn't even know existed before this happened.
Right.
Right, like, you know, if I'm somebody and I'm trying to research information about an individual, man, that is, I don't go to like Russia's #2, or you know what I mean?
Right.
Like that don't even make my top 50. And then the picture that keeps getting shared around, and I've seen it on Twitter several times, be like, listen, how ignorant are you if you're gonna question the ideology of this guy? And I'm like, but we can't see his face. Like, guys, hold on. In a world of AI and Photoshop and all of that, we can't even see his face. And
right.
And yeah, okay, people want to show off their tattoos when they're nice and fresh. And so we have a guy with nice, fresh tattoos on a Russian site, but we're certain that this was this guy's ideology. We have to ban the AR-15 because white supremacy is bad. And if you don't ban the AR-15, you're okay with white supremacy. And it just...
Right.
Like, it just, the whole thing was weird.
Let's do some DGUs. You want to take this one?
Sure. Family says Johnston gunman acted in self-defense. On Wednesday, KCCI spoke to a Johnston family who says a deadly shooting at their apartment complex was self-defense. Police responded to the shooting around 11:30 p.m. on Tuesday at an apartment complex in the 4700 block of 62nd Avenue, according to a news release from Johnston Police. 2 men found on the scene with gunshot injuries were taken to local hospitals. One of the men later died. He was identified Wednesday morning as 62-year-old Stephen Miller, who lived at the residence where the shooting happened. The other person's injuries are not considered life-threatening. In an interview with KCCI, Shelby Meir and Barbara Riley and said Dalton Meir shot Miller in self-defense. Police have identified Meir as the man who fired the gun in the investigation. Well, that's brilliant police work, since that's what everybody told. God, these people, they have to get paid by the word. He was questioned by police and released. They say it is too early in the investigation to determine if the shooting was self-defense. Currently, no charges have been filed. Okay. We're great friends. And it's just like he went crazy. His eyes glassed over. He charged at all of us trying to kill us. Okay. All right, I'm going to actually read that just to make sure. Currently, no charges have been filed. Shelby Meir said Miller, a family friend, became aggressive during a dispute in another apartment. Meir said she and her husband, Dalton Meir, went upstairs to find Miller enraged and threatening Shelby Meir's cousin and others with a knife. My husband is my hero and forever will be, Shelby Meir said. We were great friends with him, and it's just like he went crazy. His eyes glassed over, and he charged at all of us trying to kill us. Shelby Meir said that's when Dalton fired his gun, shooting Miller. The second man was accidentally hit by a bullet and is expected to be okay. I think that he was defending the people he cared about. I mean, that's the type of person that he is. He's a hardworking young man. He's a father of 3 kids, said Barbara Riley, Dalton Meir's mother. So he knows about gun safety. He knows what to do, and he knows that is the last resort.
And he knows that is the last resort. That's
But Danny says he's flying like an eagle now. Chad is on fire this morning. You guys are great. The Sergeant Major had a fantastic comment. He was like, "Hey man, be optimistic when you work every day. It's always like it's Saturday."
Ouch.
Yeah. Okay, so a couple of things to pull away from this. One, we've said before that there are no misses when you fire a bullet.
Correct.
You always hit something. In this case, it happened to be one of his neighbors. But where is this out of? I mean, yeah, I know it's
Iowa family.
Iowa family. There we go.
Yeah.
So it's out of Iowa.
And I don't know much about the gun laws or gun culture in Iowa.
Well, here's the thing, man. I don't know if you've ever been to Iowa. They have more corn than people there.
Yeah.
I have been to Iowa. My stepfather is from Iowa. All 27 people in his hometown are nice.
You ever seen that? It's one of the witness protection country mouse, city mouse type flicks where the couple from the city goes into witness protection. They're hiding out in the countryside. They go in this bar to eat, and one of them says something about, "Don't you have any Democrats around here?" And the little girl in the bar says, "Yes, ma'am, there are 12. We know where they live."
No, but how much more?
Like, yeah, I'm buy me a ticket.
How much more investigation do you need? Like, the way this article is written just makes me suspicious of the motives of the person.
I'd like to know more about his eyes glassed over and he charged all of us. Was there an inciting incident prior to that? This sounds like drugs. Like,
yeah, this is drugs and or alcohol. I don't think there's any. Like, this is an old man. He's a friend, and then his eyes glassed over. Boy, if you've never seen somebody put on a "I don't give a fuck" face,
I've seen it once or twice.
like, that will get you right with Jesus fast. and apparently got this guy right with Jesus. But don't do meth, kids.
Well, at least got him out for coffee with Jesus. So, next story. Off-duty firefighter chasing girlfriend after alleged assault killed by pedestrian.
I actually have a personal connection to this story.
Oh. Should we stop?
I would appreciate it if we would I will explain, but
okay.
in matters of taste.
We'll skip over that one then. Let's go to the next one. Police say suspects fired shots inside a Lexington pharmacy during an attempted robbery on Tuesday afternoon, and 2 people have been arrested. Fox is told that around 2 p.m. a pharmacist was grazed by a bullet and then fired back with his own gun. Steve Kuntz is the pharmacy manager at the Lexington Family Pharmacy. He said 2 masked men came to rob the pharmacy and shot at him. Kuntz legally carries at the pharmacy and fired back. Kuntz
legally carries, so he carries.
Right. Yes. He heard him. I want to go down the rabbit hole, but I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole. He heard a man yelling for everyone to put their hands above their heads. I look up, and it's a tall guy in a mask, and he had a gun pointed at my cashier, Kuntz said. Kuntz heard his coworker scream and says the alleged robber fired a shot before a second person darted inside. The robbery suspect's bullet reportedly hit a computer monitor. I said I'm going to do what I...
Sorry, it just reportedly.
I said I'm going to do what I need to do to defend myself and my loved ones there, Kuntz said. The 2 men took off, and Kuntz says he went outside, and they fired at each other again. He got a good look at the car. His boss says he's a hero. You find with Mr. Kuntz, it wasn't a good opportunity for these folks to come in today. Sometimes you break into the wrong place, and there are people who fight back. And Mr. Kuntz did a great job today, and somebody else found out. You know what finding out is?
What immediately follows?
It is the natural result of fucking around. Right. 5 other employees were able to go home safely tonight. They all credited Kuntz. The staff is also grateful for the rapid police response, saying a large number of officers arrived in under a minute to begin their investigation. The pharmacy turned over clear surveillance video of the suspects to police. Lexington officers found and arrested both suspects in Salisbury, according to a Lexington Police Department news release. Okay. What I'm about to say, I don't mean for this to take anything away from Mr. Kuntz. He did the right thing. But I want you guys to think about this correctly. Mr. Kuntz did the correct thing. What he did is not the extraordinary. What he did is not something exceptional. What he did is the bare minimum that we should expect from grown men, which is to recognize evil in its actions and be always prepared to confront evil with finality and destructive force. The story here is not that one exceptional man saved 5 normal men. It is that one normal man defended some number of inadequate men. I don't know what the gender mix was between here. And that is an important detail. The boobies stay in the cave while the man goes to hunt and kill the mammoth. Right? It is absolutely acceptable for our valuable women to take cover and hide until the conflict is resolved. But the minimum that I expect of you as men is to be the girded against the ravages of an evil world. And when evil rears its head, doing what is right doesn't make you a hero, it makes you a man. Doing less than what is right makes you less than a man. So Mr. Kuntz is not exceptional. He is the standard, the minimum standard that you should all expect to hold yourselves to.
Hey, it says that when they caught the bad guys, we've got the charges here. You notice how Mr. Marcellus Robinson, 31, he's been charged with attempted armed robbery, possession of a firearm by a felon. Yeah, isn't that weird? It was illegal for him to have that gun.
What do you know?
But he still had the gun.
And
it's almost like,
and we can quibble about the constitutionality of infringing on someone's right to keep and bear arms. Again, another time. But to your point, also, you know, Bryson Moss, 22, has been charged with attempted armed robbery and assault with a deadly weapon and inflicting serious injury with intent to kill. It doesn't say attempted robbery, it says attempted armed robbery, and it says assault with a deadly weapon. It is illegal, right, to crimes or actions whose active commission are illegal. And under the law as it is written, it is also distinctly and separately illegal to commit crimes while armed. So the way that shakes out mechanically is if you're committing a crime and are armed, it's not just that you're committing a crime while armed, it's that the fact of you committing the crime, whether or not you were not a felon and legally in possession of that weapon when you began to commit the crime, as soon as you are engaged in the commission of the crime, it becomes illegal separately, a separate crime, for you to have the firearm.
Yeah.
I make that point to get to this point. What law could possibly stop a criminal from using a gun to do crime?
it's like Steve says, it's extra illegal.
Right.
And that always bothered me. and in a somewhat related way, it also bothers me with the whole hate crime thing. Like, if you whoop my ass because I'm white, or if you whoop my ass because you're drunk, is my ass any less whooped?
Right.
Like, it's just a thing. And I saw Alex McDonald's comment, King Carey's, Kuntz Emily's, and if you get that, well done. I do get that, but I don't know how well done that makes me. And Steve also says that's retarded. If the weapon wasn't used, there was no use. There was no use of a weapon. You're 100% correct, but almost all states have laws on the books where if you're in possession of a gun while you commit a felony, they automatically aggravate that felony to whatever its maximum degree is.
It's extra felony.
Yeah, it's extra felonious because you had the evil, scary gun.
Felonitized.
And it's for the same chilling effect that all the hate crime laws exist. Just like that's an attack on free speech. This is actually a subtle attack on the Second Amendment. It's how you get so many people that are terrified at the prospect of that they'll look you in the face and they'll say, "You think the solution to the gun violence is more guns?" Well,
yes.
Actually, yes. Not only do I think it, I can statistically prove it to you. Please show me. Like mass shooters. Where do they shoot? It's never hunting clubs. It's never police stations. It's always soft targets where they know that there's where you can't carry. And it goes. Hold on. It goes back to stuff like this. You subtly program people across their entire life by telling them, "Well, robbery's bad, but armed robbery is worse." And yeah, armed robbery is worse because you're using a weapon, but it's not the gun itself that makes it. You can commit armed robbery with a knife. You can walk into a bank and say, "Hey, I have a bomb under my coat."
Right.
You don't have to have anything under your coat, and that's still armed robbery because the victim has to believe that you're armed. It's not the evil gun. It's a mental programming thing. Goes all the way back to the zero tolerance toward violence in schools. Which sounds great until you realize that also means you're not allowed to hit your bully back. Because we got to have zero tolerance toward violence. Anyhow, you were going to say, I just wanted to make sure that I punched that home.
Oh, your point about soft targets. There was even, you said they don't shoot at police stations. There was a Marine Corps recruiting base several years ago that suffered a mass shooter event. And you might think, well, yeah, fucking Marines. Yeah, except, and this just still grinds my gears to this day and always will. Our military service members are not allowed to carry firearms while in uniform and stationed CONUS, right? Or stationed CONUS, stationed in the contiguous United States. And Steve mentions Fort Hood, same thing. Believe it or not, if you go on a military base, the only people there that are armed are guards at specific secure positions and the military police. And that is psychotic.
Yeah, we've got this juicy contract with Beretta, but none of the soldiers. I mean, seriously?
And the guns are there. They're sitting in the lockup, waiting to be handed out in case of, in the event of a deployment. Guys, there is no reason, no intelligent reason that the UCMJ, that the field manuals that describe, I think it's 670-1, that Army, that AR 670-1, which describes the wear and appearance of the uniform, does not require soldiers to be armed while in uniform. It is fucking ridiculous. If you are wearing a U.S. military uniform, it should be part of your military duty to be armed. But Chris, there are people in the Army that aren't good at shooting. Throw them, fire them. I've met people in the Army who weren't good at shooting things. The correct answer is to fire them. I had a female staff sergeant on my range one day. I was training a battalion worth of nerds, and I get this female staff sergeant, been in the Army 14 years, comes up to my firing line. And I get it if you're moving fast and you grab the magazine slow, or you grab the magazine a little too fast, you try to put it in backwards one time and you realize, oh shit. But this bitch just kept trying to cram the magazine into the... It doesn't work. It only goes the one way, toward the enemy.
Says a lot about... I think you can make assumptions about her sex life if you're willing to keep banging until it goes in. But no, I'm 100% with you. Like, there is no reason, none whatsoever, why the sidearm shouldn't just be part of the uniform.
Correct.
Like, that's...
I don't care if you just like to wear your uniform while you're off the clock, as it were. You're never actually off the clock. It's Saturday. You don't have to go to formation, report for duty, work in the office, and you just feel like throwing on your boots and utes to go to Subway. You walk into Subway wearing a gun because you should never be unarmed in uniform. That we don't enforce that is psychotic.
So we're going into the weekend.
Yep.
It's another Firearms Friday in the books, ladies and gentlemen. Safety brief?
Yeah.
Can I take a swing at it?
The pointy ends go toward the enemy. That's your safety brief. Please do.
Yes, and if you have to continue to bang, maybe it won't fit in that hole. At least not from that angle.
You should employ a functional rubber APC before you go deploying your little troops into the hot zone, boys. And once you find yourself on that firing line with your buddies out there in the field, I highly advise that you that you watch your lane.
Yeah. You. Yeah. I'm just gonna say, enjoy your weekend, and remember, every shot you fire hits something. There's no such thing as a miss. So,
that is correct.
And yeah, I think that's that'll do, Pig. That'll do.
All right, y'all be safe out there. We love you, and we will see you on Monday.